ask you, John, if if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, if I could have a superpower, I think I would stop time, just to be able to stop
Ooh.
time.
And
Yeah.
then you're still moving.
Yeah, freeze time. I'm still moving. Maybe rectify some things that either I goofed up on or
Yeah,
maybe some other folks
I like that.
or whatever. But yeah,
I like that. I always say speed, but it's kind of the same thing, right? Because
it is. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right because
you're
you're
able
getting
to.
out in front of people. But yeah, if you could stop time, because when we were little kids, Santa Claus, I believed he stopped time in order to deliver toys to every boy and girl
That's
across the
right. That's
world.
what they told us.
I concocted that in order for him to do that, he stopped time. And it was the most magical time of the year.
That's right.
So, yeah, I always thought, superpower,
That'd be pretty cool.
stop time.
Okay. Okay. One other. If there was, a famous sitcom, so think of all the famous
Oh,
sitcoms you grew up watching, but one of them was about your life.
ooh,
Which sitcom would it have been?
which sitcom would have been about my life?
Yeah.
I think I just jumped right back to Family Ties.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, Family Ties.
Almost spot on because I think it was a similar family, and I guess I'm jumping to my mom and stepdad family. It was more cohesive growing up because we're all together in that family. But I was kind of like an Alex P. Keaton
Yeah.
type
Okay.
at that age. I was I was kind of into money as
Yeah.
as a younger kid and hard nosed with school, which started at about seventh grade.
Yeah.
Dumb as a stump leading up to
Oh,
that,
come on.
or at least didn't apply myself.
Yeah.
But by the time maybe sixth grade, by the time I got into sixth grade, I really started to buckle down and fell in love with math and science and even English
Okay.
and grammar. And so it was all about school and academics. And I wasn't good at sports. I mean, I tried, I did that.
Yeah.
But if it had a ball, forget it. So I ran,
Okay.
Forrest Gump. I did that. But I would say definitely Family Ties. And I really liked just the sense of, the dad, how he and the son, they were on different sides of
That's right.
political spectrum,
That's
but
right.
they came together
Still got
always.
along. Yeah. Yeah, they always
Um,
come together.
yeah. So that'd be
That's
the show.
That's a good one. I
Oh,
don't.
thanks.
I've thought about this because I ask it often, but
Yeah. How about you?
I don't know. I a part of me wants to say like the Fresh Prince, but it's probably I don't know. I don't know
It's a
that
great show.
It was a great show. Man, if I had to choose one right now on the spot, I'd probably say Everybody Hates Chris. Just the show is just so like he would always find himself in these weird pickles.
Right.
And I remember finding myself in these weird pickles growing up, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Everybody Hates Chris. Nope, pun intended.
I'm sure I can relate to that too. I mean, did some, naughty little things that a young kid would do.
Yeah.
Start little things on fire.
On
from
fire,
time to
man.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. I got in a ton of trouble growing up. It's funny. I went to Christian high school, and
Mhm.
the admin was the pastor at my church.
Sure.
And I could not stand this guy growing up.
No,
He
of
was
course
like
not.
my arch enemy, but he's my guy now. We
Yeah.
talk all the time, and I talked to him like 2 days ago, and
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, and he was like, man, I would have never thought that you and I would be, as close as we are. I would have never
Sure.
thought that you'd be where you're at, and honored, appreciate that. But looking
Right.
back, I'm like, me neither, man, because I couldn't stand this guy.
I
Couldn't get away from him.
I can totally relate to that too. I went to Catholic school through fifth grade.
Yeah.
It ended in sixth, but my sister when she went to sixth grade, I went along with her. But I remember in second grade, my buddy John Strupp and we would swear behind the convent.
Yeah.
That was what we would do for fun.
That's-
So, I was, even though, because I was in Catholic school, maybe that's why, but whatever it was, eventually I grew out of my naughty little kid thing.
Right.
And, by the time I was fully into high school, I really buckled down. Even though I wanted to be an architect at age 9.
9?
9.
We're going to come back to that.
All right.
Yeah.
It wasn't until high school that I really started to stop being a kind of a mischievous kid. And then fast forward, now I design tons of Catholic churches and things like that.
Yeah.
And most of my favorite clients are, priests and parish leaders and things like that. When going back to being a kid, I was always in the principal's office because I did something naughty or bad in
Right.
Catholic school. So weird how that comes around. Similar to your story.
Yeah, yeah. So you wanted to be an architect you knew that at age 9.
Knew it flat out. 3rd grade.
What were you doing in the 3rd grade that made you know this?
So slightly before that, at age 6, my grandfather, he had a basement rec room, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
In Wisconsin, everybody has basements.
Basement,
So
yeah. Finished
he had
basement,
this finished rec room, and the walls were bare, and I love to draw. So I drew 100 drawings of buildings and cats and dogs, but mostly buildings. And not a good businessman. I sold them to him for $1 for all of them.
For all of them, the whole collection.
Whole collection, so like a penny a piece. So he was able to put up about 20 some, because they're like 24 by 36.
Yeah.
So I sold him these 100 drawings. I realized I really love to draw. It was my father who taught me how to draw.
Okay.
Probably, bar none, the greatest gift my dad has ever given me is the gift of the ability to draw. So hats off to my dad for that. So I love drawing, and it was cars, it was Chevys, it was Mustangs, it was everything. And then got into buildings, and then Lego sets. So my parents would buy me Lego sets. And then age 9, my sister Kim and I, we started our own real estate company.
Okay.
I would draw houses, like full-on floor plans with everything in them. And she would sell them to our fictitious clients, dolls and teddy bears and things like that. And that really just started it all off. I didn't know that architects had to be business people. Obviously, you heard my previous story. And I didn't know they had to do anything with science and math and speaking to people. They just drew buildings.
Right.
But as I got, again, into high school and took drafting class and things like that, I enjoyed it even more. Finally went to college, got my degrees and so on and so forth. And I just loved every aspect of architecture.
Yeah, so you already loved it. You go to, school and you learn it formally at that point, right? But you already loved to do it just in your own time at that point.
I absolutely love doing it. In fact, Legos being so much a part of building and creating, so you can create your own designs.
For sure.
Got to the point where we had now I'm working for the firm that I'm with today, and we're at a project client meeting in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, and I designed with Legos a police station to present to them. And I don't know if it was a great idea, but I did it. Just you do these little icebreakers and things like that. And even today, my son has filled our house with Legos. Whenever we do an exhibit or have a booth at like USF to recruit students, we bring Lego sets
Legos?
Because it draws people in. The idea of creating. So yeah, it's really just it's an amazing thing to have wanted to do that at such a young age. And quite frankly, I don't think I could do anything else. I did work construction during college.
School,
I enjoyed that, but I don't think I'm built for the long haul.
Gotcha.
Certainly, I really enjoy building the things that I designed a Ford at age 12 and built it, made trusses.
Yeah.
Of course, I made the trusses incorrectly, but that's for another time. It's great to design and build something. It's the perfect combination of art and science coming together and walking on it.
Do you still use the Legos?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For Father's Day, the kids and Tippy got me the A-frame Lego set, like 1,600 pieces.
Really?
And I built it slowly because it's very therapeutic.
Yeah,
you probably know that Beckham, this great soccer player, for his anxiety, he builds with Legos. And but some people read, so they bought me this Lego set, and I built it literally months, like over 6 months to build the entire A-frame. But there's so many neat things in it, like even a record player, album, records. So my wife and I were designing a cabin for up north in Wisconsin.
Right, Wisconsin.
That Lego set had influence on the design of our cabin up in northern Wisconsin, where we built in an area for a record player.
Okay.
So yes, I still play with Legos, and then when one's done, I'm like, is there another holiday coming up? So I can get another
I
set.
get some.
Yeah. So for Christmas, they got me a '68 Camaro. It's like this big.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've
it's
seen
gorgeous.
that. Mm-hmm.
You can either do it with a hard top or convertible.
I grew up playing with Legos, a lot. Like
Good.
I'm sure my mom stepped on 100 Legos.
Right.
Sorry, Mom. But it kind of got away from me when I was I don't know, a teenager and in my 20s, and then sometime around like my mid 30s, we were at Disney Springs. And they've got the Lego store there. And so we got a couple of boxes and put some stuff together. I'm like, man, I really enjoyed this. And now I've got in my closet, these shelving units with the drawers for your different pieces. Right. I don't much build off of like the package anymore, but more
freestyle.
Yeah, more freestyle. There's like an app where you can 3D design something, and then so you're putting the pieces where you want on the screen, and then say, okay, I'm done, and it'll export it and say, okay, well, these are the pieces that you need to build it to make this come to life. And it still takes, it's fun. It still takes a lot of time because I also have to find the free time to build, right? But usually I'll build something and it'll take 6-7 months. Mm-hmm. It'll be done. I'll marvel at it and take some photos, and then I'll trash it and start something else. So right now, for about a year, I've been building an airport. So an airport. So like I'm using, the train tracks, the Lego train tracks with the curve. So I put the curves together
for like the roof structure
for the roof, and I put the little glass pieces to connect them, and so it's a curved glass roof.
I think you're the architect.
I don't know about that. I'll send you a picture.
You have to. Well, you've just touched. That was my thesis in graduate school. So I designed an international terminal for Milwaukee.
Really?
Yeah, and interestingly, they're now embarking on the process. They're building an international terminal right now. But yeah, in whatever it was, 1996, I did my pre-thesis and my thesis, a big terminal for Milwaukee, and because I love airport design.
Yeah.
And the best airports are designed by kind of these signature architects who just do one.
Really?
Maybe two. Yeah, like they're great architects, and they're hired by the city or the municipality. Hey, we want you to design this airport. And they have no blinders on, and they just do this amazing piece of architecture.
It's like they're like master.
Yeah. Whereas if you're the expert in your field on airports, you tend to get maybe a little formulaic about it.
Sure, of course.
So hearing you talk about your airport is like you had no blinders on. You took the train tracks and you turned them the other direction.
I did, yeah. It was a little fun idea, and I didn't think it would work at first because I got it all together, and then if you moved it, it would come across. So it's like making it stable. Like now I can hold it and shake it, but I got to finish the rest of it. So I did the roof, I did the foundation, and I've got the planes done.
Oh.
So now I got to go back in and and I've got the terminal. So it's the airport and the terminal, and I want to use the subway to like a real airport. So I don't know. I'll finish it one of these days and I'll take some pictures, but I'll send you the roof like this weekend.
Yeah, I got to see it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay. So when you go to school, right, you get all done with that. Now you're an architect, a licensed architect.
Right.
What's the next step? What'd you do then?
So licensed architect, immediately we are pulled to Kansas City. And this was like 2 weeks of my wife crying because we were going to go to Chicago. But what happened was a buddy and then another buddy and another buddy, there was this train of talent going to Kansas City to work for sports architecture firm down there.
Okay.
And because they were recruiting heavily out of University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. So I'm like, well, I got to follow John, my friend down there who followed the other guy down there. And so I did. And Tippy's like, oh my God, we get to Kansas City. We do kind of a reconnaissance weekend, and she's on the bed crying, and because it wasn't really what we expected.
Oh no.
Well, let me just put an end to that. We loved our 5 years in Kansas City. It is a beautiful city. It is a city of fountains. It's hilly. It has 4 seasons, and we fell in love with it. But out of the gate, it was tough because we as Milwaukeeans wanted to go to Chicago and live in this big world-class city.
Sure.
I can see that. I think world-class is what you make it. It's the people. So we go to Kansas City, and I work for Ellerby Beckett, and one of my very first projects was Lambeau Field.
Really?
And under the direction of the lead architect, Brad. What's his name? Brad. I'll come up with it, but Brad Clark. Sorry, he gave us full license. My friend Tom and I full license to really design everything. He came up with the napkin sketch and guided us and made sure we hit our checkpoints.
Really?
But I did all the elevations, all the exterior design, and Tom Propstel did all of the sort of planning on the inside and some of that stuff.
Wow.
But it was incredible. 3 years of my career, age 27, 28, 29, in Kansas City was spent designing and detailing Lambeau Field.
I love it. And you're a Packers fan too, right?
I am.
Yeah, so that had to be really cool for you.
It was. But interesting at first because we didn't want to work on Lambeau Field because it was really traditional looking from the early concepts. But what we were able to do was untraditionalize it to a degree and make it look more warehousey.
Okay.
And if you go there today and look at it, it looks more like a warehouse architecture building with a lot of steel, a lot of big green, wide flange steel. Looks real beefy and meaty, which is kind of the blue collar aesthetic of Green Bay and Milwaukee.
Area.
And totally my style up there. So we were able to get that to happen 6 times, and I said, you know what, Mike, I think we are ready to come home. We miss Milwaukee, we miss Wisconsin, and my son's grandparents keep clutching the baby every time they leave the airport. We're like, it's time. We need to be closer to family again. So we did. We moved to Milwaukee and began to be a senior project designer at Plunkett Raysich Architects. And build a career there and start designing churches and fire stations and all kinds of other stuff.
And you've been doing it ever since.
Been doing it ever since.
And when did you get here to Florida?
So around 2011, so the Great Recession hits.
Right.
It kind of hits the country differently. We didn't really notice it till 2011. Up there, maybe 2010. So what happened with the Great Recession is Tippy and I love traveling to Florida. We would come to Fort DeSoto and St. Pete Beach. 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever it was. And all of a sudden we had no money. We couldn't do anything. We're flat broke. Couldn't travel. And then it was just really getting rough up there in Wisconsin with just everything, you name it. Our firm went from 132 to 58 over the course of about a year and a half.
Oh, that's fast.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad proportion.
That's there. Precipitous.
Yeah. So we were ready to make a move and get out of Dodge. And we're like, we always come together with ideas. And I think Tippy's like, do you want to be poor and cold or poor and warm? We're like, let's get out of here. Let's move to the place we can't go to anymore.
Shouts out to her. That's a great argument.
Yeah.
That's great.
She's been my agent my entire career.
Sure.
Yeah. And so we come up with a very thought out plan. Very, very thought out, very courageous, very brave. We pack up the kids and we move them to Florida.
Wow.
And we do it. And we gain the backing of PRA, all the partners. I'm a partner at this point.
Yeah.
And we gain the support of them. And like, John, if anyone can make this happen, they said this, but managing partner said, if anyone can make this happen, it's you, because you have the enthusiasm, the vigor, and just the hustle.
Yeah.
And so between 2012, and that was some rough sledding, so to speak, the first year, we didn't really have any client from July July 30th of 2012, all the way till the 4th of July of 2013. And I remember when we got the call, we were again in Door County, northern Wisconsin. I got the call from the Tampa Bay Rays that we landed our first little contract with them to do some a branding project with Tampa Bay Rays at Tropicana Field. And it was a collaboration project with a firm called Carlson Studio, which has been sold and renamed and things like that. But small fee, but very important.
Yeah.
We finally got something. And from there, it really began to take off a little bit like a tree, sleep, creep, and then finally leap. Yeah. So within about 3 years, I'd say we were profitable.
Okay.
But it was only because of really lots of good tentacles in the community.
Okay.
I learned that quick.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So even when we were planting our seeds down here, I had a cup of coffee with a guy named Matt Caraway, who worked, he was leadership at SMR, not on the commercial side, but on the agriculture side. And he said, John, if you do one thing, get involved with the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance, but don't just join, you got to really get involved.
Right.
You got to roll up your sleeves.
Yeah.
And ask how you can help. And I took that to heart, and I got involved in every way I could.
Nice.
And never handed out a business card. I always would say, I'll see you again.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And that's what today, now we're up to 10 people and very busy. Projects everywhere, all over the state and all over the country. And I try to instill that same set of values in our team.
Yeah.
Getting involved, giving back to the community.
I remember whenever we joined the Business Alliance, it was coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
And I remember not wanting to join any type of chamber or alliance, or I had no interest in that whatsoever. But the annual expo that they were bringing back, because, COVID or whatever, was across the street from the office.
Yeah, right at the Robarts.
Right at the Robarts Arena. And I remember thinking, like, man, it's right in our backyard. Maybe we just there's probably going to be competition there. Like, maybe we just need to, like a chess piece on a board. Like, maybe we just need to have a booth and take up some space and talk to some people and, more of a strategy play more than anything else. Not try to sell anything. And, we went to the expo, had a fun time, didn't pull any business. We had a fun time and we made some good contacts. And shortly after that, obviously, I had to join the alliance in order to get a booth. And so I remember the team at the Business Alliance, like, hey, you got this membership. Like, it's good for the year. Why don't you come on out to this event or to that event? And I came out and just instantly, man, just fell in love. Like, good people, good contacts and colleagues. I've created friendships, like lifelong friendships out of the Business Alliance. And I'm super thankful that we joined. Obviously, I've re-upped every year because there has been benefit from a business standpoint, but just, even me as a person, like, I am getting fulfilled as a person as being a member of the Alliance.
I completely agree, and had felt that way from the get-go. It's been very genuine. It's more like a family.
Genuine, yeah.
Yeah. I just felt like as soon as I joined and got involved, sometimes when you walk into a network social, like, okay, I better walk over to that place where I can put something in my hand, like it's like a crutch. It's a cocktail or a club soda. And, because I got to survey the room. But when I'm in an Alliance event, there's always somebody there that they can kind of sense when somebody's new.
Yeah.
They put their arm out or their hand out to shake your hand and say, hey, welcome to the Alliance. Or
it's nice.
And it's really always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been the organization that I, wanted to really put our emphasis into.
Yeah.
And
I try to, when I'm there, somebody did that for me. Might have been Lamont. Might have been Brittany Lamont at that time. Or Dan Sidler when he was there. It could have even been Dan Sidler, yeah. But I remember, just trying to go in there with the mindset of, not leading with what I do, but more who I am. You know what I mean? So, like, meeting somebody and be like, hey, I'm Chris. I like long walks on the beach and
Right.
Cabernets. No, I'm kidding. But no, like, hey, this is what I'm doing, last weekend, and this is what I like to do, or this is what my family's about. And then if they ask, oh, sure, yeah, this is what I do. And then finding out who they are, not just what they do, but who they are, because if I meet you, John, at an event, I did meet you at an event.
Yeah, that is how we met
yeah.
and began collaborating
That's
on
right.
things.
That's right. If I meet you and I know that you're a good person, and I know somebody else over here that you don't know, I can trust that I can connect you to,
right?
And you'll both collaborate together and do things, great things together. And I had a hand in that. That's cool. That's really cool.
It is, and I think that is so much more productive and long lasting and relational than the transactional. Hey, here's my card, and this is what I do, and
call me.
Yeah, can we do an email?
Right.
And where I just much rather talk to you and see you again, and then talk again, and then eventually it's like, oh wow, you're doing this, and then you know what, I'd love to connect you up with this civil engineer, and
that's right.
Yeah, I want to help people, architects, being problem solvers and playing with puzzles and things like that. Sure, yeah. So that's where I mean, this organization, I think, does a really great job.
I'd agree.
But like we said, when we met, we started talking about this program that we're doing together.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at Dutch Crafters. Shout out to Dutch Crafters.
Yeah.
All right, so talk to me about that first project. You got that call from the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah.
How did you get that project without giving away the trade secrets?
No problem. So I think what they did was they did an RFP, public, or they went out to local firms who were green and knew something about sports, maybe, but generally firms that were sustainable design minded, because the Trop and the Tampa Bay Rays wanted firms that cared about the environment. So I know it went out to Folly Bryant, and it went out to Carlson Studio, and I don't know if it went out to other firms. I presume it did. So me as PRA, a man of one or a firm of one, collaborating with Carlson Studio, we said, what do we have to lose? We lose everything else. Let's try this way. So we went after it. We put together a very robust package of, outwork, out hustle, out respond. Just let's give them something that they would really see us as their trusted advisor.
Yeah.
We even put in a tour of a stadium that we could learn from and take back and apply, certain things that, so we would walk around there and so we went to the new Twin Stadium in Minneapolis. It was pretty new at the time, because the Rays saw that as one of the preeminent newer baseball teams. So we did that on our nickel, and it was a great weekend anyway to go up there in summertime, and took in a Twins baseball game. So I got to add that to my bucket list of stadiums. Anyway, they selected us, and for all of the reasons I mentioned, and I think we showed them a lot, and they continued to hire Carlson Studio PRA. Eventually, over the years, when Michael moved to Seattle, it became just PRA, and we've been their architect at Tropicana Field ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, we've done a lot of work there, and it's great because, and I'm going to do my props for Tropicana Field. Baseball in Florida in the summertime, you want to be indoors.
You got to be indoors.
You want to be air conditioned, because it's either raining or hot and humid, or both.
Or both, yeah, for sure.
And so it is a great place to watch a baseball game, and there are no friendlier people than the Tampa Bay Rays and their hosts, their fan hosts. So and being an older building, there's always projects there.
Well, cool, man. All right, last question. What's the future hold? You've been down here for 10 plus years.
Yeah, 12 years.
What's the future hold?
Well, the future holds this way, Chris. I am in the process of really moving through the leadership training of my team, and looking at my next move into I don't want to say retirement, but giving more of the reins to Jed and Derek and the other folks that are moving up in ranks. I want to have a Sarasota office that is ready to take it, to the next level and
continue on.
Yeah, continue to grow. Where I will start spending a little more time with my wife in northern Wisconsin, maybe traveling a little bit more. Okay. So as I approach age 60, just slightly less involved in the daily operations of PRA. Yeah, I would like to get back to designing more and operating less. So as I give the reins over to Jed, and then of course getting more entrenched in the community and more volunteerism here. Very cool. Well, and also in northern Wisconsin. Both. Okay. Yeah, okay. Definitely both. But I want to be able to just start, shifting my for-profit self and do a little bit more volunteering. Or not, bro. Well, you get a little bit more freedom. Yes. When you make that transition, so you can do those things. Because I'm not going to take it from my sleep. That's already been robbed by work. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that, man. Yeah. Okay, I lied. I got one more question. Okay, good. Go for it. Are the Packers going to be any good? Jordan Love. It's nice. I know. And it's nice. Yeah. It's so the smallish sample size that we had last year, I thought he excelled very well. Mm-hmm. And he seems poised to do it again this year. He's super intelligent. And I think if we put enough talent around him and protect him in the pocket, I think they've got a shot. Thanks for asking that one. I'm fired up about that. He doesn't get rattled. I noticed. I'm impressed. No, he really doesn't. Prediction on a record? I know we have 17 games now, so 11-6. Oh, that's optimism. All right, that's what's up. You want to take the under on that? Who's in that division? Detroit? Yeah, Detroit is very svelte, and the Bears are supposed to be good this year with their new quarterback. Yeah, we'll see if that works out. Right. I'll take the under. I'm thinking 10. 10-7. Yeah, I'll take the under. Yeah. All right. We'll bet. You golf? I don't golf unless there's a windmill or a clown's mouth. I don't. Oh, you can pop stroke. Yeah, let's do pop stroke. All right. So if 10 wins or less, then pop stroke's on you. 11 wins or more, pop stroke's on me. Sounds good. Sound good? We have to shake. Oh, thanks for having me. All right. My man, thanks for coming on this Chris, show. Thanks for having me. It's really great to be here. This was great. Welcome, Bill. I'm with that. Yeah.